was actually a low moment in my career when one of the guys from Westlife, I suggested a line and he said it was too cheesy. So that was...
my God.
I think that's what I like to call rock bottom now.
Hey, I'm L Devine and you're listening to Growing Pains. Today I'm joined by professional sad boy JC Stewart. JC is my lovely friend and label mate and probably the perfect soundtrack to your heartbreak. He's like seriously one of the most gorgeous velvety voices I've ever heard, and now we get to listen to him for about half an hour speaking. So,
accent's not as good. Speaking voice doesn't work as well.
I love that. So good. But thanks man, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'll tell you just a bit about what this is. As you know, I'm a singer-songwriter. My main inspiration when it comes to songwriting are my experiences navigating through adolescence. So I thought it would be a cool idea to invite friends, family, and just generally cool people down at the recording studio and chat about their own coming-of-age stories.
Sick.
Yeah, so to break the ice, we ask everyone to bring a horrible photo. Well, not horrible necessarily, but a photo of them when they were a teenager.
There's
oh my God,
the photo to end all photos.
Okay, so, right. When was this?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was like when I was 13 or 14 and I had to dig through my photos of me in Facebook, the bit where like people have tagged you and stuff. I haven't seen that photo in a long time.
Press backwards.
And it's bringing me back to the days of the Bieber haircut.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say.
I literally had like a neck twitch because I was flicking my hair so much. It's so bad. I'm not even joking. I wish I was.
It was Justin Bieber a big influence because mate, you've literally I don't know if that's a filter, but you've got a purple t-shirt on. I feel like, or lilac or something. Maybe that's a filter.
I don't know. It looks like a dodgy.
But you've got one of those like
filter.
You've got one of those like American Apparel like hoodies that you used to wear, and you've got the Bieber cut, and you've got Beats headphones around your neck.
Look, I was a cool kid, right? And no, I think my defense, I had long hair before Bieber was a big thing.
Really?
And I cut my hair just before Bieber cut his hair, and everyone was like, "You're copying Justin Bieber." I'm like, "Nah, I did it at least 3 weeks before he did."
So you started the Bieber hair.
Did I make Justin Bieber? I don't know. You decide. You decide. No, yeah, I was not a cool kid.
No,
but that's okay.
So who was that person in the photo then? If you could describe that person.
I believe it or not, wanted to be a rugby player, even looking like that.
Oh, really?
I wanted to be a rugby player, but main issue was I wasn't very good at playing rugby, so that was a stumbling block.
Okay, was that heartbreaking moment?
That was heartbreaking because I remember I was like a winger and I scored like one try in 3 years, and I was like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this is done. But I also, I think I was doing musical theatre at the time because it was like the only way.
Very different things.
Yeah, but I was like a singer, and that was the only thing I was half good at, and the only way when you're that age that I could think of to do was musical theatre.
You were like Finn from Glee. Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was never like my mum made me go, and I hated it. And she sent me to piano lessons, hated it. Guitar lessons, hated it. Drum lessons, hated it. Hated it all.
But you're like really good at all those things now. So
I only started playing when I was like 14 or 15. So I just like finally I didn't like cool music either, so I loved the script, and I just started ripping script songs on the piano. They're amazing. But so I mean, it's not Bob Dylan. But we listened to that after, so it was good.
And where did you grow up, for people that don't know?
So I grew up in a town called Magherafelt in County Derry in Northern Ireland. So it's like halfway between Derry City and Belfast. And then I spent some time in the north coast of Ireland. Okay. But I grew up on like a farm in the middle of nowhere, essentially. It was cool.
Like a full farm with like animals?
Yeah, like we lived right beside my grandparents' farm, and then we had animals in our farm as well.
So
we had chickens, which we called Nugget and Curry and Goujon and horrible things.
Nugget, Curry and Goujon?
Yeah, no. It was awful. But
wait, were they for eggs though?
They were for eggs at the start.
Okay,
not talking about growing of age. Yeah, but
not Nugget.
No, the Nugget had to go sadly. I grew up. So like I spent a bit of time in Belfast, but mostly just lived in my hometown until I was 19. I think.
Oh, really? Wow. And rugby, was that a big thing there?
Yeah, it's Ireland. It's the only thing we're good at. So
it's
really? Like, my dad.
I don't even know that much. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, my dad was a rugby player, so we used to watch rugby, and then the next thing you do is you play rugby at school.
Yeah. So what did he think of musical theatre and stuff like that?
I don't know if I've never actually asked him. I doubt he ever really understood it. I'm sure he was had to my mum was like, well, what are you doing? But now he loves music because he always loved live music, and now like even we were at Anne-Marie on Sunday night, and I didn't expect him to love Anne-Marie. He's like, that's the best thing I've seen. I'm like, Dad's an Anne-Marie fan now. Strange. Wasn't expecting that. But
that was a bit 2002.
Yeah, he was loving it. He was like dancing on the hood. He was loving it. But yeah, no, they love it now. Like literally every other show, they're like, "Where are you playing next week?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm in Paris. They're like, all right, cool, we just booked flights. I'm like,
Oh.
no, that's not what I meant. Cool,
No, I
cool,
love
cool.
that.
No,
My
they're
dad's
cool.
exactly the same. My
Yeah.
dad like has to come to every single show.
Like every other
He's
show. Like,
never
I'd say
missed
there's
one.
2 or 3 shows every tour where there's like,
Really?
the parents there tonight. Yes, they are.
You
It's
should,
like,
you should bring them along. You should get them like.
get them
some
on
room the
stage.
bus, yeah.
I think I'm just gonna get them a job. Quite honestly,
Yeah.
get them to get dad to start teching or something. I don't know, but yeah.
That'd be sick, man. And what do you think that person in that photo, like, what made them different to everyone else? Apart from the fact that you started, like, Bieber's look.
Apart from that, it was obviously that was a big deal. I don't know. I didn't really at school. I didn't really like. I wasn't like the cool or popular kid. I didn't really stand out that much. I just was kind of doing my thing, and I didn't like.
Yeah.
I didn't really like school very much. It was like I did school, but music was very much outside of school. So I think this is
Right.
just when I was discovering that I wanted to do music in some sort of way.
And your friends didn't know, but like, you kept it a secret. pretty
No, I
much,
didn't
or-
keep it. Like everyone knew I was a singer and did like musical theatre and stuff. Because
Okay.
I mean, you do musical theatre. That's quite
So-
a loud and brash thing, isn't it? So
Yeah, totally.
Is
That's
that-
interesting though, yeah, because you do expect like the person who does music to be like the attention seeker, center of attention kind of person. But I
Yeah.
feel like I was the same. Like I was like so embarrassed that I did music and didn't want to be
Yeah.
like, hey, look at me.
I wasn't even embarrassed. I just didn't really. It was very separate because obviously your life is school when you're that age. So I was
Yeah.
in school and playing rugby and getting disappointed because I wasn't very good at rugby. But then I had this whole other weird
Yeah.
life that was just different. But I didn't like. Well, I talked about it a bit, but it was just like a different thing. And that's kind of always how it ended up happening. It was like 2 very separate lanes, and then I just started missing
just
school,
switched
and so I was
completely
just
at that
like,
night.
yeah, screw school. But I finished school and did the whole thing. But it was always
Well
like
done.
the outside.
What
No.
did you do at school? What
Um,
subjects?
I did. I'm trying to think for A level what I did. I did history, religion, and music, and then I did.
No way.
I went
I
to-
did history and
Yeah.
religious studies.
I actually
I
loved it. Right,
I was
it was
gonna,
good.
those were like my favorite subjects. Yeah, I did for A levels. I did history and religious studies, and I fucking loved it.
It was
man.
so
It was
good.
So good.
No, me and my music teachers didn't really get on, but
Yeah, I didn't do music. I was so shit at music at school.
no,
like,
I got
they
like
told me not
they
to
failed
do
me in composition, which
Yeah.
I laugh at. And I was like, yeah, I got failed for the writing bit of it.
it. That's
but,
alright, look at you now.
And then yeah, did you go to university?
I didn't.
No, I did 1 year of terrible.
Oh,
university.
really?
My mum got the certificate last week.
Wow.
Her
What
proudest
did you
moment?
do at uni?
Did international relations and Arabic.
Wow.
I know I don't speak any Arabic. Not one bit.
That is
so
like
it was
the
unsuccessful.
biggest plot twist I've ever.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
It was unsuccessful. But I did 1 year and then was like,
What made you want to do that?
I needed to move to England, and
Yeah.
the way I did that was by getting a student loan. And
That's very
so I did that, and I didn't want to study music, so I hated it at A level. So
you were much smarter than me. I
wanna do
literally
the
just winged it and had I had like not much money. I had not even enough money to last me 4 months. But
yeah, no, so I
Okay.
I just came here and was like student. Well, now I'm in a lot of debt,
Yeah.
so it's
oh well,
it's good.
I'm sure you'll be paying that back very soon. I know you were saying you didn't stand out or anything like that, but if you know on Mean Girls, you know when they have they
I've never
make
seen Mean
You
Girls.
never
Is that
seen Mean
awful?
Girls?
Yeah.
I haven't fucking enough. What the hell? That's
Right.
that is like one of the
I'm gonna have to go watch Mean Girls.
one of the
right.
most important coming of age movies
Okay.
ever. It's iconic. Oh, Mean Girls are so good. Okay, but basically, there's like this really iconic scene where the main character like is shown. It's basically like a map of where everyone in school like sits, like where all different cliques sit.
Okay.
You got your JV jocks, your Asian
yeah.
nerds. That's what they call it. That's what they say on it. But I was wondering like what table would you have sat at
I
in
kind
school?
of
Like
went
what gang were you
between a couple of tables. Like, so I was I went in with the rugby crowd at the start,
Okay.
obviously. And then I kind of went more to the music crowd, who've ended up being like my mates to this day
Yeah.
from school. Who've like, there were kind of like, there was like a few rockers. There was like the guy who played in Mass, you know, it was like
Okay,
weird. So we
sick.
were all just like, but this was like later on. I kind of moved between them a little bit,
Yeah.
and still some of my best mates are from the rugby crowd and stuff. But kind of, yeah, because I was kind of in both and neither
So
sometimes.
you
you
were
know,
in
it's like
between jocks and I think are they called hot
I definitely
band geeks?
wasn't a
Is that what
jock.
it's called? Hot
I was
band
definitely
geek.
not in the top echelon of the jock level.
Okay,
Let's put it
so
that
you were a
way.
sexy band geek then.
Yeah, but with buck teeth and weird Bieber hair, so it was like it didn't really
Same.
go very well. Yeah.
So we were teenagers like a while ago now.
I know.
So,
it feels
yeah.
like yesterday. I think I'm still 14 in my head,
Yeah,
so it's not
same.
ideal. But
What do you think has changed like the most since we were teenagers?
I think social media has got to be right, because
Yeah.
Instagram wasn't really a thing
Yeah.
as much when we were growing up.
I think it
and
was
now
like
it's
we were like 15 or 16 or something.
15 or
like that.
16, but even then it took a while to get off the
Yeah,
ground. Even
yeah.
Snapchat was starting to come in.
What about like YouTube and stuff? Did that help? Did you? find
Yeah,
that
I
that-
did bits. But
How
I
did
always,
it change? How did social media like change your
I was never very good at it. Northern Ireland, it was never a thing. It was like there was a massive indie band scene, that's what I wanted to be involved with. And it was probably similar in Newcastle.
Yeah, so
right?
I was just about to say that's so similar in Newcastle. I found you could not make pop music.
No, right. So I was co-writing songs at the age of 16, which is like, nah, don't do that. So it's like, but no, it's all the indie bands who played. They're all my best mates now, so it's class. But they all kind of. There's just one sound, and it was like Two Door Cinema Club-ish. It was that time where they came out of Northern Ireland, and a lot of bands were trying to do that.
That's cool. It's cool to have those influences, though.
Yeah, no, it was amazing, but it was, pop music wasn't a thing, not at all. So,
were you into pop music? Did you want to?
Yeah, that's all. It was just all I could do. I wasn't cool enough to be indie. I wasn't rock enough to be indie, and I wasn't like deep enough to be the weird singer-songwriter. And I wanted to do more than
You're
just
a bit
be
weird. I'm joking.
No, but I wanted to be more than just a guy playing acoustic guitar and doing that. So it was kind of like I was trying to find this outlet, and I did a lot of terrible things, terrible songs to try and figure out what it was.
What's your worst song?
Oh, my first thing I ever put out was a cover of "Where Is the Love."
That's not bad though. Wait,
no, it was cheesy. Like you don't know.
That's a tune.
And then the first song I ever put out was a song called "Free."
Free.
Yeah.
That you wrote.
Yeah.
That's
it was, you know what? It was okay. It was alright.
My song is called Pussycat, and you don't want to.
I don't.
You don't want to know. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
fair.
never coming out. I can't believe I just said that, and everyone knows about that now.
That's gonna have to be at the end of this podcast. So stay tuned, folks.
You know who you are. Actually, I'm gonna shout out Jordan Riley.
Jordan
He's a
Riley?
part of that mess.
Oh, I'm gonna get this off. No, I'm texting him after this. It's like.
Okay, so what was your most embarrassing moment as a teen?
Oh, I actually know this. I know this. Good. So, I think I was 13 or 14. I mean, there's probably worse things that happened, but this is one that always sticks out. And we've been playing rugby in February, and we're covered in mud coming off the pitch. And I knew my mum's car was there, so I just went. I was tired, threw the bag into the boot. There was mud everywhere. I got in the car, was like, oh, we're in the seats, there's mud everywhere. Looked across, it wasn't my mum. It was just a random car.
No!
Yeah, I just walked into a random car.
Did you get in and we're like, hi,
and
Mom.
I just walked out again. I just walked through my mum's. No, it was just too quick. It was like, and then just walked out. Wasn't my mum. Walked into another car. So that happens like once a week in my life at this point.
Did you ever find out who it was?
No, I didn't ask. I think it probably was someone else's mum. I hope they were in a school car park, so I'd like to think so.
So that was your most embarrassing moment, but what was a highlight? What was your teenage highlight? What was the best day of your teenage life?
Best day of my teenage life? I actually remember this. When I was about 16, I applied for this thing where you could be a songwriter in London for a day, and I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And I forgot I'd applied for it, and I got it, and we went to Rack Studios. And it was me and like 30 other people, producers and stuff, and it was Nile Rodgers and Rudimental. And we got to do a remix of like Freak, and I had never worked in London before, so it was like I peaked so hard. I have never done a session like that in my life. Then? 16.
That's crazy. Have you worked with either of them since?
Nope. No, never. So I peaked hard. I peaked real hard.
Nah, you need to get
I think them. Yeah, and I always go back to Abbey Road and be like, no, remember me? He'd be like, no, I don't. I'm like, yeah, I was that
apparently
wee kid.
he's a really
he's a nice guy, but he's like, we just sat and he just talked to us about like being in like the Black Panthers and like all this stuff in his life and every story, and like talk about like the.
That's a pretty huge moment. Did
that Studio 54 and stuff? Yeah.
Did that influence you or like?
Oh, massively. Yeah, that was kind of when I figured out that like. Songwriting was the thing I wanted to do, and that's why I wrote songs for other people for years before.
Really?
But while I was doing this, but before this kind of worked.
So when you like moved over to London to go to uni and wanted to pursue music as well, were you thinking about writing for others? Was that
massively that was how I thought I was getting my way in, and it kind of was how I got my way into kind of working with record labels and stuff. Yeah. And that's like so awesome. I wrote for 2 years and didn't get any cuts, and just
really?
it took me so long.
Yeah, but looking now, you got Lewis Capaldi.
Yeah, but it took so long, and that's like that was all fluky stuff, which is kind of how songwriting works. I think a lot of the time it's just like you're like, that one is the one. You're like, oh.
Yeah,
cool.
Totally. And then once that happens, then all
then you're fine. Crazy. But yeah, it took a long. So that's what I was doing. I was doing the artist stuff as well. Released a couple of songs, met my management, did all that stuff. But yeah, it took a while. I feel like I've been doing this for about 7 years now, I'd say, which is like it's probably similar to you, right? Yeah. It's crazy.
That's so cool. Are you still doing that now then as well?
Like? Bits and pieces. I think the last one I did of all things was actually in December. And it was one I couldn't turn down, and Westlife needed some songs.
No way!
I went in the studio with Westlife, and it was actually a low moment in my career when one of the guys from Westlife, I suggested a line, and he said it was too cheesy. So that was.
Oh my god!
I think that's what I like to call rock bottom now.
What was the line, please?
Oh, I can't. I just remember the song was like,
on?
it's like That's Just Love was like the title.
That's Just Love.
It was.
I love that.
I've got it on my phone. I Am in Westlife on my phone, which is amazing. But
That's so crazy.
yeah, it wasn't.
What did your parents think of that? Were they not like?
What, the Westlife stuff?
Yeah.
They're not big. My parents love music, but they don't go for the whole "we're Irish, we gotta love Westlife" thing.
Oh,
Trying to think who they like. Like I remember the first song I ever listened to was "I Wanna Hold Your Hand" by the Beatles, and there wasn't that much music in the house. There was, but there was only like I just listened to that one CD over and over again.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you something. I think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand.
What was like? Would you say the song or artist that defined your adolescence?
There was a few. I think it was really niche indie bands from like Northern Ireland and Scotland, but it was like Biffy Clyro and Twin Atlantic from Scotland were the two. I used to love them. And then also The Script, like they were like I've met them a couple of times since, and it's still like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, did you open up for them?
No, my friend's band did, but I've like they're like work a lot with them, so I've ended up being around them a little bit, and it's still like that's crazy because the first two albums they're like still two of my favorite albums.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
Yeah, man.
And then there's like bands from Northern Ireland called like More Than Conquerors and Father Son, and then there's Snow Patrol, Mateo Cinema Club, all the Northern Irish things. I loved Northern Irish music.
You opened up with Snow Patrol though, right?
Yeah, I toured with them and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, how was that?
It was just a dream come true. So every night, I remember one night he dedicated Chasing Cars to me, and I was like,
no way.
I literally lost it. I lost it.
If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world? Forget what we're told before we get too old.
One thing that I ask everyone is, what was a defining moment of your adolescence? The most pivotal moment.
I think it was everything that's kind of led up to now. I think was one thing when I was like 15, which was my mum sent me to this thing called the Making Music Workshop, and it was at the Burnavon Theatre in Cookstown, which is nobody's ever heard. It's in the middle of nowhere in Northern Ireland, and there was this jazz musician, and he came in, and the idea was he taught you how to write songs, and I'd never thought of writing a song before, and we got put into bands, and we all he wrote on a board how the structure of a song, how you did it. And we wrote this song, and I still remember it was called like New Generation or something, and that was when I was like, I kind of didn't see what the catch was. I was like, oh, he just wrote a song, that was really fun, and I was like, I want to keep doing that. It felt like the most natural thing I'd ever done. Like it was hard, but it wasn't like when I've been playing sports or doing musical theatre where I was just like, I don't really. Yeah, it's fine. This was like, no, that's class. I love that.
Yeah, that's really fun.
So I did that, and then I think ever since then I like started a band called Truth for Me after it, where I played the cajon and sang and had a guitarist with me. It was niche. It was very niche. And then just was writing songs like since then it seems to have just been like, that's just what I've done since. And it was just a random day in the summer where I went to this thing that I probably nearly didn't go to because it sounded rubbish.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. Like since then I've been writing, and then that led me up to like coming to London a couple of times, going to uni so I can move here to write, and then getting signed and literally to this room now. I think like it's like that.
Everything's led up to now. This podcast.
This is it. This is it. But no, it's like I think it was definitely that day, which is crazy to think because it was just like the most random little small thing. But it definitely was the one.
And then moving from like a small town to like the big city.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I went via Brighton. I lived in Brighton for a year and a half.
That's cool.
So that's where I went to uni.
I love Brighton.
It was cool. That's when I had like my shock. So I was living in halls for like a week, like first 2 weeks, and I was like,
don't envy that.
What? No, it was rubbish. No, I met some really cool people and some absolute idiots as well. So it was like, but yeah, it was just like I freaked out then, which meant, and then I was coming to London every day for a year and a half. By the time I moved to London, I was like so ready to live here that I never went through the I'm in London.
Like, were teased.
Yeah, I kind of built up into it, and I just ended up. By the time I got here, I was just now able to sleep here instead of having to get the train back to Brighton every day.
Totally.
So I was London. I've got pictures all around my bedroom of London when I was a kid. Like it's where I wanted to live for sure. So I love it, and it just feels natural and super like homely. So
did you get to meet like other musicians as well at uni? Like,
yeah, like all my mates were like musicians there, and like I would have played in church and stuff there, which is like there was like a big rock band, so we all like played in the band, and like we're like learning about tracks and learning about like Ableton and like how to structure that sort of stuff and different. So I was like really techie, weirdly, but I still knew nothing
That's
about
so
it.
useful to know.
It was,
Like,
and I still am terrible at it. But like all the boys I met were like really good at it, so we just were able to learn from each other. And then I just got lucky in London. I knew a couple of people who hooked me up, and then the people they hooked me up with other people, and just slowly
That's
just
how it is,
kind of
isn't it?
spidered out, you know.
You've got to get amongst it.
Yeah, and it's tough because I know some people who, like some of my friends do, and it doesn't happen as quickly or as easy, but it's just, I don't know, luck of the draw sometimes, isn't it? But yeah, I was super lucky when I got here.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it here.
Oh, I'm glad I made it here. And like, I don't think me working on a farm would have been successful.
I can definitely see you in some overalls. And
no, like I would
with
be
nugget and
complaining
curry.
the whole time.
If you could go back and tell the boy that we saw in the photo that you showed us, little Justin Bieber lookalike.
Yeah.
If you could go back and tell him like one thing, give him a piece of advice, or maybe even not a piece of advice, just whatever. What would you say?
I'd say don't worry about success and that it doesn't matter, because I still don't think I'm like successful now, but I'm just kind of doing exactly what I want to do, which is the most important thing. I make a living off doing something that I love, and I don't really care about
successful as fuck.
that, right? But I
That's
don't
so
really
good.
care about being the biggest thing in the world at the minute. I'm just like having a really good
you will
time
be with
doing
that
it.
attitude though. I think that's the perfect
No, but like
way to
it's
think
just
about it.
yeah, I just really, if I stayed here for the rest of my life, I'd be so happy. Do you know what I mean?
In
like
this room,
in this
yeah.
exact room. No,
It's good vibe in here.
but yeah, that, and don't be so cocky to teachers. They're only trying their best, you know. And yeah, enjoy where you live a bit more, because I used to just want to get out of my hometown so much.
Yeah,
and I
that's
hated
true.
it. But now I go back and I'm like, you know what? It's all right. It's okay. And yeah, just enjoy the journey, man. It's like no, but it's like it is all about enjoying. I think I was actually with a producer last week, and he said a really cool thing to me. He's done the biggest stuff in the world, and he's like, it doesn't get better than this right now. Just sitting in a room, chatting to people, enjoying it, hoping for the future. But that the thing that you're hoping for doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So enjoy the hope, enjoy the journey, but don't actually don't worry about it too much, because when you're there, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So it's like, I thought that was amazing actually last week, this guy.
Yeah, I love that.
Well,
Words of
yeah.
wisdom from JC Stewart.
There we go. You know.
Thanks so much for coming down,
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, as always, to Levi's for sorting us out.
Big up Levi's.
Yeah. You've been listening to Growing Pains with L Devine and JC Stewart. Hit subscribe on Apple Podcasts, follow me on Spotify or wherever you find your favourite shows to be updated with each new episode.